Hey everyone, this is the Innovator's Mindset with Olivia Odileke. Odileke. I practiced. I screwed up, didn't I? Okay, good. I am very excited to speak to Olivia today. Not only because I met her in Puerto Rico recently, and just you have a wonderful energy, and I really appreciate it. But also, your focus on curiosity is something I am very curious about. You know, I got to tell you, I never told you this story, but you will appreciate this because I know you love curiosity. I am of the age, and I'm making an assumption that you're, like you would have existed in this time as well. Do you remember when call display like listed the person's name and it was like backwards? And so
Yes.
people would see my name and they go, Curious
Curious
George?
George.
Right? That's what they see.
I
So
almost did that Google,
right.
actually. I'm like,
Yeah,
does he
it's
know
funny
his
because that
name
like
connected?
people when they see it backwards, they
Yes.
just because that's you just see that immediately. So, curiosity kind of my thing. So we're gonna talk a little bit about curiosity. You actually have an event that's coming up in Austin. It's called and correct me if I'm wrong, Spark Curiosity EDU Experience. And I don't know if you say EDU, Edu, I don't know. And so
I
we
say EDU.
EDU,
Mm-hmm.
let's go. And
EDU.
so we
Mm-hmm.
will talk about that. And then some of the work that you're doing with Lead Spark team. I'm really excited about this. But Olivia, before we get into, first of all, I'm very curious about you. So before we get into anything, can you tell us who you are, what you do today, and how you got there?
Well, I'm Olivia Odileke, and my work sits at the intersection of curiosity, instructional practice, and educator renewal. For over 15 years, I have worked as a teacher, as an instructional coach, and I've worked with schools and principals, especially in Title I communities, helping educators design learning experiences that make students want to think, talk, question, and engage. And at the heart of my work is this simple belief, George. Before students can deeply learn something, they often need a reason to care about it. So that's why I created the Spark Curiosity EDU and then something I have called the micro inquiry framework. I wanted to help teachers create short, practical moments where students get to wonder before they are told what to know,
Right.
almost kind of like a discovery before delivery. So, my work is really about helping educators move from simply delivering information to designing moments that really awaken the thinking.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And I'm very passionate. Like years ago, I wrote an article and it was like, all learning is personal. And because we talked about personalized learning, but it's like, hey, it's based on like, what do I know already? Like, what do I want to learn, which matters. And I think we disregard that is that everyone, no matter what you're talking about, what you're reading, will take away different things based on what they're curious about and what they're interested in. And we have to leverage that. Even when I speak, like I tell people like, hey, you're like, I'm just trying to share some ideas with you. You have to figure it out. And that you're trying to spark that curiosity through that as well. So I think that's such a good way. And I think, I know you do this. And I think we'll talk about this with the conference. You're not reserving this for kids, right? This is important as educators. We have that curiosity as well. Would you say that's fair?
It's a circle.
Right.
It starts at the top. If leaders aren't curious, then why would teachers be curious? And then it's basically you have to model these things.
Hmm.
Like it can't just be like, oh, we want the kids to be curious, but you don't ask one question in one meeting. You don't go to one PLC with one wonder. You know,
Well, and you were actually in my breakout session, and this I think we really connect after this too because I like started as like, what do you want to learn? Like, what do you want to learn? And the session was built backwards from there. And I remember you had a lot of input into that session. I was really appreciative of that too because that is like for me to make that assumption, I'd rather be driven by people's questions and like, how can I support you? But also, there's a vulnerability as an educator that I might not know how to help you, but I want to know the question at least so that I can support you in that way. And when you and I were talking prior to pressing record, uh, we were joking about the C's because there's all these C's, and it's like everything in education ever happens to start with C. I don't think so, but and again, why I really resonate with you, I'm really big on curiosity. And there's a quote from Will Richardson. I wouldn't read this to you before, but I'm curious your takeaway from it. But he talks about all the C's, and like the most important C is curiosity. And he says, I mean, really, when it comes to learning, what comes before curiosity? Think of most skills, all the stuff that doesn't show up on the report card, all the stuff that probably matters more than the stuff that shows up on the report card, and you'll find they are steeped in curiosity. Problem solving, problem finding, persistence, cooperation, adaptability, initiative, add your 200 more here. Which of those doesn't require being curious first and foremost? Can you be any of that if you're not? And so that's like, I think that's why it's such an important work that you're doing, is that it leads to all the other stuff that if you don't build on curiosities. So I'm
I
curious to your
mean,
thoughts. I'm
I
curious
have
of your
so much
thoughts.
to
Yeah,
say. I have so
let's
much to
go.
say on that because the thing about it is really the spark
Hmm.
curiosity is really the sparking of the thinking.
Hmm.
See, most of us are in spaces, even as adults, and we already know the format. We already know, oh, they're going to start this way. They're going to introduce, we're going to have icebreaker. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. I've already tuned out because there is no thinking required. But
Right.
the minute that someone says something and says, what if
Hmm.
you walked into a classroom tomorrow and all of the students had a computer in front of them and there was no teacher in the classroom? What do you think this classroom would be missing? Now, I put you in a scenario. Now you are forced to think. Now you're something in here just opened up that never opened up before.
Hmm.
And that's what's kind of missing in many of the lessons. And George, I've observed 1,000+ classrooms, like physically gone in 1,000+ classrooms, looked for at least 10 to 20 minutes of instruction taking place. And all I see is kids who are recalling information, who are repeating what other people are saying, or who are not being cognitively challenged. I've asked so many students, did that challenge you, baby? They'll say no. I said, would you want to be challenged? Yes. They're like coloring in things, just doing busy work. And I'm saying to myself, and I'm looking at these kids, and like they have this spirit that wants learning to feel alive, but it feels like you're killing me and it's so boring that even some of the class, I'm standing up. I'm
Yeah.
about to fall asleep myself. I'm like literally, and then part of this is what drove me to say, they just don't know what to do. Why? Because we're all this compliance, overwhelming, I'm burnt out, all of this stuff that takes away from what is really the joy, what is really the focus of the learning. And to me, the focus of the learning is for me to be a facilitator, a guide on the side, helping students uncover the standards versus me covering the standards.
Right. And one of the things I've said too is that um, we have to teach curriculum, and people will say like, oh, like I have to get through the curriculum. I'm like, but that's a different timeline than the kids understanding, right? You might have got through it, but it doesn't mean the kids know it, right? And I think part of it is how you stoke that curiosity. You reminded me of something I wrote about a long time ago, and I think it's like we get the term learning mixed up with regurgitation, right? Like just saying back.
Oh, all day long, all
And
day long.
and so there's all this research about what is actually better for memorization if you take a picture of notes versus if you handwrite the notes. And overwhelming, it's like, hey, handwriting notes, you have a better retention of it. And I'm like, but is that the goal? Is the goal retention? Because you're saying like, hey, I will better retain the information and be able to say it back on a test to you if I handwrite it versus take a picture. Whereas my argument is, but if you actually took a picture of the notes and then you could look at them and create something with it, you could ask questions, you create your own connection. That's actually a deeper understanding of the information. So, like, yeah, it might actually be better for retention, but retention does not necessarily equal learning. As you said, they have to make that connection for themselves. They have to uncover that. I think that is really, really important. So I love your focus on what I believe is actual learning, not learning we call
Play
retention.
learning. We play learning. I mean, I really don't think we
Yeah,
really learning. Why? Because the scores
yeah,
tell us less than 25% of our kids are proficient in reading and math by the fourth grade. This is fourth grade.
yeah.
I mean, we're not even at 50, George. We at like less than 30, and it's been that way for like 25 plus years. So we are already failing. And so, but the thing is, we don't feel psychologically safe. A lot of teachers don't feel
Right.
psychologically safe to try something new. And I feel like that's the sale of learning. The sale of learning is a teacher in a classroom feeling psychologically safe to say, I want to try this new practice and see how it goes, but not just try it by yourself. You need to try it with a team of teachers where we're kind of sharing ideas with each other and we're curious as to how is this going to impact students. But we get so focused on assessment data.
Mhm.
And the assessment data, yeah, it may show that 30% of our kids can't add fractions or 70% of our kids can't identify geometric shapes, right? But what is the actual art of teaching?
Mhm.
What is the teaching practices the teachers are actually doing that connect to those assessments?
Mhm. Now,
That's the piece that's missing.
well, listen, I'm like, I'm regretting that I'm like want to share 10 million things with you right now and like get back and forth because I love the stuff you were talking about. But one of the things I wanted to do was other people get access to you too. And so you have an event because I actually can't be there because I'm somewhere else, but I'm like very jealous now. But you have an event. Yeah, I love this. Is like, and I think this is what you are building in your event is exactly what you're talking about here. So instead of me like going over, this is actually kind of what you are talking about, what you're trying to create with the Spark Curiosity EDU experience. So this is actually happening in Austin. Can you give me the dates because I don't know them exactly. I know it's like August
The
1st.
dates are July 31st to
Right.
August the 2nd.
Right. And so this is in Austin.
And
So
yeah,
when you shared it with me, I'm like, listen, this is different. This is different experience for than what people. So I was like, I want you to talk about it. Tell me, like, tell people like they come to this event. It's not your typical conference. What does this look like? So try to explain. And I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be kind of like what we're doing. We're like trying to figure some stuff out and like what our interests are and making our own connections. So tell everyone what the Spark Curiosity EDU experience is.
okay, well, I call it the experience very intentionally because I don't want to create another traditional conference where educators sit, listen, take notes, and then they go home inspired, but unsure what to do next. This is designed to be immersive, practical, and energizing. First of all, educators will experience a curiosity based learning where we're going to be designing micro inquiry tasks. They're also going to experience a micro inquiry task right at the beginning of the session. We're going to also explore how AI can support better instructional decisions and how real conversations about what it means to make learning feel alive again because it can feel alive. And for me, it's about creating a space where teachers and leaders can breathe, reconnect with their purpose, and leave with strategies and people they can actually connect and use these strategies the next day. And the goal was intentionally to model a curious classroom, to have a bunch of strangers come together and say, I don't know anybody in this room, right? How can I build connection in a short period of time? How can I make people feel psychologically safe in a short period of time? And how can I build community where we actually feel like we're learning and it's fun and we're feeling connected and we're retaining so much more. And like 6 months, a year from now, I've had people come back to me from last year and say they still remember it. I said the reason you remember it is because something was sparked in you. I spark something in you, and then we look for potential in others. We have something called the Spark Wall. It's a part of our online curiosity. I made my own portal for the attendees because think about it. When we go to most conferences, what do they do at the end of your session? They say, "Hey, go and fill out this survey and rate the
Right.
instructor," right? And then we, as the people, we never see that information, right? It means nothing, really. It really doesn't mean anything. What would be of more value for an educator in the space? Wouldn't it be better to see what other people learned in your session? So I started something called the Spark Wall. And so after each session we do, and we have a few breakouts too,
Mhm.
because I want to differentiate it, we're going to go to the Spark Wall and just write one thing that sparked you. What's one thing that sparked you? And it's in real time. It's kind of like live feed, like those we used to do on Zoom, and we would wait and let everybody, answer in real time so we could
Love that.
see, they call it a waterfall. Yeah. So the same kind of concept, but then also we want people to look for something in someone else.
Mhm.
Like we had a shout out roll before you leave the conference. You need to give 3 shout outs to people you don't know. Maybe they asked a good question. Maybe you like the way they responded in your group. Maybe you like the way they just showed up, because we need students to look at each other that way too. That's going to decrease behavior problems. That's going to also improve communication skills, and it's also going to make you feel like you're a part of something bigger than just working towards an assessment.
Jeez, I love this. I really love this. Especially the last part what you just said too, and I think that is like so important because a lot of times what people hear is a negative stuff. And this is society.
Oh, I already hear it. I hear the comedians all the time on TikTok. It's very depressing. And I'm like, okay, do we want all the teachers
Yeah.
just to leave tomorrow?
Well,
It
yeah,
doesn't work that way.
yeah.
Stop it,
That is like
please.
like you go. I always give this example. You go to a restaurant 100 times, you love it. But then the 101st time you hate it, that's when you leave the Google review. And it's like, no, like we need to hear the good stuff we're doing because I'll tell you, this is like a little thing with me. If my wife is like, hey, your biceps are looking bigger, you know what I do? I go harder on them. That's like my thing, right?
Yes, you
Right? It's like,
do.
yeah, I need that because it's like we're always learning from the negative, but it's like, no, you can learn from success. You can learn from good things too. So here's my last question about this. And I think this will be such an amazing experience. And I know it's limited in numbers. So if you like, you can actually sign up in the notes below. You can find more information. One of the barriers I think people have sometimes for doing something different is that it's different, right? Like a lot of the groups I work with, they'll say like, "Hey, we want to talk about innovation. We want to try different things." I'll say, "Okay, here's some things I want to try differently." Like, no, 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 same. I'm like, well, you're asking
Yes.
people to like think differently about classroom and experience, and like what you're trying to do is create something different. But it's like, but we want to do it in the exact same model we've always done it, and I love that you're creating something that you're trying to replicate in the classroom. That's the best part because that's the best. Like, I'll give you this little example. I want to see if you can finish this too because I knew we grew up in different countries, right? So I grew up in Canada. So finish this sentence. The bell doesn't dismiss you. Do you know the end of that?
The teacher dismisses
Right.
you.
And so we even grew up in different countries, and it shows you that the reason you know that is because some teacher said that to you as a kid, and then some teacher grows up, or some kid grows up to be a teacher, says it. We pass down experiences. So the best way to change the experience for your kids, you have to change the experience for the adults because it's like we will just keep doing the same things we've always done. So someone has
And
the,
it's scary though.
it is,
What
it is.
what you're
Yeah.
saying is really, you're afraid. Like when I first started doing inquiry,
Mm,
like the micro, I was very afraid because I didn't really know how to facilitate a discussion. I failed quite a few times, but I just kept saying, I see the vision. I see that there's a better way. I
right.
see little sparks going on, and I got to keep trying this. And that's why we have this radio program that I kind of created called Fearless Educator Radio. And it's basically music I created with AI, but it's music that makes you more positive, sparks curiosity, starts to see the potential in students, start to see the potential in you. I wrote songs for leaders to see the potential in teachers because when you do, they start to see the potential in their students. And we have 1 hour at the conference during lunch where I'm just going to brainwash you with this fearless educator
Yeah.
music. And we even got a song called I'm a Fearless Educator. Watch me like the way I turned
I want
out
that
the
to be my new
obstacles.
podcast theme
You want
song.
that to be the new podcast? I'm just saying, like, I believe that a part of the school, the culture of school, can change when our mindsets and ideas change. And part of that is music to me. So we're trying to play the music to create the wellness, to get you feeling good again. Because when you feel good, you can pour into students. But if you feel burned out, if you feel overwhelmed, you cannot pour. But it's really just a shift in our mind.
Mm,
You're thriving. I got a song. That's when you'll thrive. Everything outside starts in the mind. How do we change the way we think and feel? And when we change the way we feel, even if I was in a prison, George, they couldn't make me feel any different because of my mind. It's so strong. And this is one of the most powerful things we have as humans. And we still haven't even tapped into it. And I believe that the curiosity part is tapping into this energy we have, but we keep allowing the negative to take it away.
Right.
When I can create my classroom, I create my life with this right here.
Love
Right
that.
here. I
Listen,
create it.
we got to end the podcast because like I could talk to you forever, and I like try to always keep it under 20 minutes.
Yes.
But I
Okay.
gotta, I gotta,
Sorry.
I gotta
Didn't
say,
know the time
no, no,
frame.
no, you're good. And because I'm gonna say one thing. This is now, this podcast is going into my file of I am always right, and here's why. Because I always tell my wife I'm always right. Because you reached
Yeah.
out to me, you're like, hey, can you, like post about the conference? I'm like, no one can do it better than you. And again, I was right. I'm like
You was
jacked up
right.
about it. You did, that was awesome. So like, I'm excited for you, and I'm excited for all the people that get to attend. So check it out down below because I think this is what we need more of this in education. So
Yeah,
Olivia,
I
I
want them to
really,
just rediscover their spark.
yeah, and
Really, at the end of the day,
I
rediscover your why, your thinking, and realize it's not that
love
complicated. We
that.
can bring it into classrooms tomorrow with our Spark Curiosity coach, which is totally free for teachers. And we just kind of show them how it's all about discovery before explanation. And it takes less than 20 minutes.
So you and I will share this with everybody. It is in Austin, Texas, but it's open to anybody that's willing to get there. So if you want to
Anybody
get
who
to,
wants to come show up and
yeah,
show out, because we're gonna have
let's
fun
go.
too. See, we're gonna realize that it's not just about boring sessions and sitting down, but it's about connecting, challenging, and asking your questions. I really believe the best learning comes in moment when people in the audience
Right.
can bring up questions about what they're actually experiencing and get that real life feedback. So that's really what they're going to get, that real life feedback that they really need.
So everyone, check it out down the link below. Olivia, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it. You're what a spark you are in the world. So I'm glad we were able to connect. And I'm like, this is one of my favorite things about going to conferences. I meet people like yourself, and then I'm like, hey, I just want to talk more. So let's
Yeah.
be on the podcast.
The
So what
future
what a
belongs
blessing.
to the curious.
I love it.
That's what I'm going to leave you with. And you are curious. So
George.
that's why you're
Curious
creating a
George.
future.
Curious George. It's in the caller ID. Thanks, Olivia, for being on the podcast. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.